When I turn a 120-volt circuit on, the voltage drops to 80 volts on the bus bar that is connected to that circuit, the other bus bar jumps to 160 volts. If I turn a 120-volt circuit on the other bus bar, that bar drops to 80 volts and the other bus bar jumps to 160 volts. I have removed all circuit leads and just connected one 120-volt circuit and had the same results. My 240 circuits work correctly. Could my problem be a corroded wire on the neutral wire between the panel and the meter or pole?
Hello and welcome to Just Answer. My name is I will be happy to assist you with your electrical question. 1. Based upon the description, the problem can be one of the following: A. Loose neutral connection at the utility meter socket or a loose neutral at the panel neutral bus bar, or B. A problem with the electrical utility neutral service feeder wire, possibly at their transformer. Or C. An issue with one of the two hot phases originating from the utility to the panel. 2. Problems such as this are more often a neutral issue, but could be a problem with a phase conductor. 3. At the panel, measure with your meter for 240 volts from phase to phase at the main breaker. Then measure for 120 volts from each hot phase to the neutral bus bar, should measure 120 volts. 4. Lastly, measure from the neutral bus bar to the panel bare metal enclosure and should measure approximately 0 volts. If N, neutral, to G, ground, measures higher than 1 or 2 volts, then you have a neutral issue. 5. The reason for the fluctuating voltage is that you have a voltage drop that is occurring. Yes, could be an issue with the feeder cable. Reply back to me and let me know the voltage measurements at the main panel and we can take it from there. Thanks. Kevin. 1. Phase to phase at the main breaker needs to measure approx 240 volts. 2. Each phase from the main breaker to the neutral bus bar needs to measure approx 120 volts. 3. The neutral bus bar to the metal panel should measure approx 0 volts or very close to it. 4. Measure for 120 volts from each single pole breaker to the neutral bus bar. If 50% of the breakers do not measure 120 volts, then the problem is an open hot phase. Either a utility problem or a service entrance conductor issue or a loose termination in the meter socket or a faulty main breaker, etc. A variety of possibilities. 1. If a neutral issue, your lights should have problems and cause dimming. If a hot phase issue, lights will be flickering. If you have any additional questions, just let me know and I'll be glad to answer them for you. Otherwise, don't forget to rate me before you log off. Thanks. Kevin.
I will look into these things today and let you know the result.
Okay, very good. Sounds like a plan, thanks. Kevin.
With no circuits on, there is 240 volt between the two phases and 120 volt at each phase. When one 120 volt circuit is turned on, it changes to 80 volt and 160, or 90 and 150. When an amp clamp is put on the panel ground, there is amperage going through at 0.22 amp. When the clamp is put on the neutral, there is no amperage. When the clamp is put on one phase, there is say 1 amp, and then put on the other phase, there is 0.7 amp. This is with only one 120 volt circuit on and the rest are turned off. The volt reading from the neutral bus bar to panel is 0, but the panel is also bonded. The lights that are on are fluorescent and outside, hard to tell if they are dim or not. When we plug a drill it operates much slower than normal.
Thanks for the replies. 1. So is the low voltage only limited to one 15 or 20 branch circuit, or is the problem widespread over multiple circuits?
All of them.
Okay, thanks. 1. I recommend to contact your local electrical utility and have them confirm if the utility voltages and terminations, phase and neutral, are correct at their end all the way from the transformer up to the line side of the meter socket. Tell them you need a service tech dispatched ASAP. Most utilities will not charge for this. The utility also needs to pull the meter and verify their terminations at the meter line side. 2. If no issue with the utility, then either a faulty splice at the service entrance wire's drip loop, if overhead, or a loose termination at the meter socket load side, or a loose service entrance wire termination at the panel main breaker, or a faulty or loose main breaker.
Thank you was a bad connection on the neutral between the pole and the weatherhead.
That is somewhat of a common problem. Thank you for the positive service rating. Much appreciated. If you have any other questions, just let me know. Take care and have a great day. Thanks again. Kevin.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert, now visit JustAnswer.com/YTHI.